Hi, Dara. How are you today?
Hi, Jillian. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for being a guest on here today.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
yes. I would love for you to just start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. I'm Dara Smith. I'm a brand strategist and copywriter. I have a business called Corner Copy Shop where I help entrepreneurs and small businesses connect with their audiences through powerful words and messages.
I love that. That is great. I love the name of that, Corner Coffee Shop.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, it took me forever.
Yes. Isn't our names like the hardest thing to come up with
Oh
for
my
our
gosh.
business? Yeah.
Yeah. And like, God forbid you change your mind
Oh,
after
I
you
know.
filed the paperwork.
Yes, I know. I know it seems so final once that paperwork is in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I know as business owners, it's really important for us to tell our stories. How, why do you think that's so important? How do you help your clients do that?
Yeah. I think it's so important now more than ever where, so many businesses are sort of selling themselves and their services online. So now you're competing essentially with the whole world, right? Like back in the day, you just had your local whatever. So it didn't really matter who was selling what because you were just getting what was close. Now there are so many options that consumers have. So besides price point and a few other things, really what that person is going to make their decision on is the personality of the person behind the business. Do they connect with the business's morals and values, and do they want to, if it's a solo entrepreneur, do they want to work with that person? So telling an effective brand story is really important because that's really how your customers can get to know you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who do sell the same product, have the same
Mm-hmm.
services, but they're going to connect with something that you have, your story, something that makes you different.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you only, there are like, a million, let's say, skincare companies, but
Yes.
there's only one of you, whoever that is the person behind that brand. So if you don't share who you are with your audience, then you're just, one of a million.
Yes. Yeah. Whenever I'm looking for something, I always like go to their backstory or go to old or highlights or
For
old
sure.
reels, videos, just because I want to get to know them.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and like, also too, it's, you're investing time as a consumer, like if it's especially something more service based. So you want to make sure you're going to resonate with that person. It's going to be a pleasant experience.
Yes. Yes. That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So, how do you help get your clients comfortable with actually putting themselves out
Yeah.
there and telling their story? That can be very scary to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So many people kind of come to me and they're, solo entrepreneurs. They say, oh, well, I don't want to be the face of my brand. Like, I want my brand to speak for itself. And I really have to sort of challenge them on that for, the reasons that we just discussed. So, there are a lot of ways. It's, every person is different. So everyone's comfort level is different, and every, maybe someone's objections are different. So I have to sort of customize, my approach based on the person that I'm working with. But overall, the first thing I try to do is really get to know that person intimately and, sort of figure out like what the story is, why they're awesome, like, all the things that maybe they won't see in themselves. And then, I ask a lot of questions. I just really try to get to know their personality, their brand, their history as much as possible. And then I help them craft, the speaking points, the messaging that will resonate with them. So now instead of them kind of feeling like, all right, well, if I get, whatever it is, if I get on Instagram, I don't know what to say. Now, like we've refined this message. We know, what the secret sauce is. So just doing that kind of gives them an added layer of confidence. And then I just, once we've finalized it and we're both aligned, I say, like, get it out there, go tell your mom, tell your brother, talk to, somebody at the grocery store, go on Clubhouse, and just really try to get them to practice in sort of like low consequence areas that to just get them feel more acquainted with it. And then that can also help them sometimes they learn things in those settings. Like this happened to me actually once. I thought my like my target audience was one thing, and then I started talking and pitching myself, and I was like, oh, actually, it's this whole other thing. So, really bringing it to life and using it is kind of the most essential step.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you said, that you help your clients see their potential and see what they have, because we definitely don't see that in ourselves.
Never. Totally. Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody's got something different, right? And it's so hard to see it when you're looking at it all the time, and when it's yourself, right? Like it's just hard to get that perspective.
Yes, we always need that outside perspective.
For sure.
So how can we find our brand voice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do a lot of exercises to sort of bring it out of people. Sometimes, it kind of already exists. So especially if the brand voice is essentially the voice of the entrepreneur, the business owner, that's, then it's like, okay, well, how do we make that come to life in all these other channels? But, the biggest thing for me is really putting pen to paper. So I think a lot of times people are very clear on what they want, but it's really only in their head. They haven't verbalized it. They haven't written it down. They haven't, kind of created guidelines for themselves and goalposts for themselves to stay within it. So, they know what's right, they know it doesn't sound right, but they don't know how to articulate why. So one of, the first exercises I do with people is to ask, as I said before, a lot of questions, figure out, what they want to be, what resonates with them, who they are, who they're not, how that translates into language, and, also their target customer, like how that will, resonate with their customer, and if it matches up. And then, putting pen to paper and defining, saying this is what it is. So that way, no matter what piece of copy or content they're creating, they can refer back and say, like, does this align with, sort of the goals and the mission that I set forth?
Yes. Oh, I did that a few weeks ago. Yeah, I made my mission statement, and now I
Yeah.
just have to go back and make sure everything just aligns with that.
Right. Was it hard for you to put that together?
Yes, it was. Very
Always.
hard. Yes, but now that I have it, it feels so much better, and I have something to relate to. Yes.
For sure. Yeah. I think like it's just like I said, it's like you probably kind of had those thoughts floating around in your head, right? And so like if something kind of fell outside your mission, you knew it, but you might not have really been able to think about why until that was kind of formalized and put on paper.
Yes, definitely. Yes, yes. So something that I am working on is like implementing all the advice that I give my clients. I'm not very good at doing it myself. I'm very good at telling people and helping people and motivating them. But when it comes to myself, and I know that is something that you've said that you struggle with too. So
oh my gosh.
Why do you think we're so willing to not do the things that we're telling other people to do?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the biggest offender there. I don't know. I think just some things are very obvious when you're looking at, somebody. It's kind of what we were saying before. It's like, if I look at you, I can see all the strengths and like why you're so special and why everyone needs to hear your message, like why you need that stage. But when it's myself, I guess doubt and fear kind of creeps in, and it's like, oh, okay, does anyone want to hear this? You just question yourself. So I have a feeling that probably is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. And I feel that you're kind of like that cheerleader for your clients, like cheering them on, telling them all the good things about themselves and why they can do this. So I love that.
I definitely try to be. I know firsthand that having your own business is it's hard and it's lonely, and you don't always feel like you're the, strong, amazing, powerful, business owner that you are. So I try to like use empathy from my own feelings and my own hurdles to try to, help other people kind of overcome them maybe quicker than I do.
Yes. Yes. We all need somebody like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I would love to hear if you have any tips for the listeners on how they can start with sharing their story.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things to do. I think the first step before even doing that is really getting clear on your audience. So, obviously, elements of your story are your story. So it doesn't really matter who you're talking to, but there are aspects of your story that might resonate in particular with your target audience. So if you can start by getting really clear on who that is, it will kind of help you sort of craft the messages that are going to help those people, right? So you're in service, or your business, your products are created to help other people with whatever problem they have. So if you know who you're talking to, it's easier to say like, okay, well, this thing that happens to me all the time or happened to me in my past can really help other people. So that would be my first piece of advice. And then my second piece of advice would just be like kind of journaling almost. So whether it's a notebook that you keep with you or your notes app on your phone, once you have this ideal audience identified and you're kind of thinking about, all the different ways that you can help them, just start writing things down. There could be a meeting that you had and a conversation you had with a potential client, and they said something really thought-provoking that they described a problem that you might not have realized that they had, and you have this knowledge and expertise, or the situation might have happened to you already. Just start writing all that stuff down. You'll start to see some patterns, and then kind of the story might sort of emerge organically as to like who you are and how your background can help solve this overarching problem your audience has.
Mhm. Yes, that's what I did. I was just taking notes of things I heard and things. And then I came up with I was like, oh, you know what? Something when I was a teenager made it so I couldn't use my voice. So that's a good story to tell about.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Yeah, I would love to hear more about that. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. Like, I think sometimes people think they need to have some ridiculous, rags to riches, or, something super grandiose, but really like someone just wants to know that, you can relate to them and you can help them with whatever they're going through.
Yes, yes. Because, yeah, that's what I thought at first, too. I'm like, I grew up in a normal middle class family. Like, I don't have any special story to tell anybody.
Right, right. Yeah. Sometimes I think the language, too, of just like your story, and, it can all sound like really overwhelming and just kind of prohibitive from what it really is. It's really just about creating connection, and a lot of the kind of branding and sort of, the online world, it's sort of the same, right? In person. So like if you were showing up to a meeting with a potential client, what would you say to them as to why you're the person that can help them? I mean, a lot of these strategies aren't that different from typical sales and marketing strategies, but, obviously when you're behind a computer screens, it's like the expectations become different.
Yes, definitely. It's very true. Yes. The online world is very different.
Yes,
Yes.
for sure. At least feels that way.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being on today. And if any of the listeners need a cheerleader to help them craft their story, help them up level their brand, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Corner Copy Shop. So shop is spelled SHOPPE. So Corner Copy Shop. Feel free to DM me. And then my website is the same. So if you want to reach out and send me a note, I'd love to hear from you there.
Great. And I will make sure that's all in the show notes. So thank you so much. This was a great conversation.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.